that on? I think it's on. Thanks for stopping out to the shop today. Today we're going to talk about jacks. My first jack. This is a Craftsman. I thought my dad's was a Craftsman. This one's a Craftsman. It's a good choice. It lasted me maybe 2, maybe 3 years before it stopped jacking up. That really made me angry because my dad's lasted 20 years, maybe even more. It could still be over there working. We don't know. No, we do know. He just replaced it not long ago. But that was very frustrating. So I threw it in the basement and I thought, I'll fix that later. And I went to my local parts store, or emporium. And I bought this jack. This is a Harbor Freight, Central Hydraulics. I went to lift my wife's car up and it would no longer do that. This is very frustrating. Now, to be fair, I'm not very nice to jacks. I use it to lift my truck. I drag it through the driveway at 2 a.m. to wake up the neighbors. I'm just kidding, I don't. But there's a whole meme about that. Did you know that they measure the quality of a jack by how loud it is when you drag it through a gravel driveway? We're not going to do that today. So I went shopping for a jack. I could go back to Harbor Freight and buy another one imported from who knows quality-wise. I could go to Craftsman and I could buy one that looked the exact same one as the one that was imported quality-wise. Trip over my tongue there. I didn't feel like going back to Craftsman because I didn't feel like my dad's jack was my dad's jack anymore. And I would go back to Harbor Freight and get another one from Harbor Freight, but their prices haven't stayed low. I mean, the equivalent of this jack cost quite a bit more than what I spent on this jack, and it's not a whole lot different. I happen to live pretty close by to a company called Eastwood, and stopped by their factory store, and they had one of their jacks, which was relatively new to their catalog, and it seemed like it was at least as good as, or better than, any of the other import options that are out there. So I brought it home with me. Let's take a look.
One of the first things that I noticed when I took the packaging off, the top of this handle right here seemed to bear the weight of the crate above it. So the padding is pretty well worn down. But it shouldn't affect the function. So it's just annoying. I did purchase, they offered me a 1999 extra 1 year, so supposedly I'll have to see, hopefully I don't have to take advantage of it, but hopefully I have 2 years of warranty on it. It seems like by doing a whole bunch of research, it seems like most of the jacks are made by the same people. I was really only able to find 1, maybe 2 manufacturers that claim to make their stuff in the United States. Most of them are in China. I did find one that seemed to have some manufacturing done in Taiwan. Not that having things manufactured overseas is a problem. This one is made in China. Those two are made in China. The issue comes from support, aftermarket support, parts, and of course quality control. Something can be made anywhere, and if the quality control is good, then the part will come out good. The issue that I have is, if you look at that other jack over there, it has never been straight. It was crooked from the factory. Every time you jack up on it, the whole thing creases and crookeds. That one's actually a pretty decent quality jack, the Craftsman. It just stopped working pretty early on in its life. So let's get this guy out of the packaging and see what we think.
Well, there you have it. There's the 3 jacks all kind of lined up in a row. The nice thing about this is it does have a lower initial bottom point, so it can go under my wife's car without any problems. I did like on the Harbor Freight one, it had the adjustable height pad. None of the other options that I looked at really had that, and this one doesn't either. The difference with this one it does have a kickstand here, so that I can use this, and it goes up quite a bit faster than the other two, than the Harbor Freight one did. Now this Craftsman one had a 1 pump to height, so it had like a 2-stage pump in it where you could do 1 pump and it would get all the way up to the top or to your lifting surface. So you would just be able to go like this and it would meet whatever you were going to pump, and then it would be small pumps after that to lift it. This one, you have a foot pedal that just kind of makes it easier, so you don't have to swing the whole handle all the way down. The motion to raise and to be able to lower it back down uses a universal joint that goes into a thread, whereas these both use gears, and you can kind of get a little bit of play in it, so you're going to lower a vehicle and it would just kind of like grab, and then it would go and the whole vehicle would kind of slam down. This one seems like it's a little bit smoother. I'm about to change to rotate the tires on my truck, and we're going to find out. Now, I can't speak to the quality of this jack. I am not sponsored by them. I really wouldn't show any of their names if it weren't for the fact that maybe somebody's going out there and having the same problem that I am with jacks, and maybe you just want to see this as an option and what problems we had with the other ones. I did end up going back through and adding fluid to the Harbor Freight jack, which seems to have brought it back to life a little bit. It still won't go to full height, but at least now I can use it as a secondary jack to lift an axle or to help me out if I need to. But this one, I think the Craftsman one's going on the scrap pile. It's been in the basement for too long, and I don't think I'm ever going to fix it, because at the end of the day, these are tools, and I want them to work for me when I want to work. I don't want to have to work on them. As much as I like to tinker and fix things that are not fixable, that I think I'm going to give up on, because I got a lot of other projects I want to do. So. tire rotation, and everything looks pretty good. Jack went pretty well. Two complaints that I have so far. One, I think that rubber pad that's on there, I think that's going to get chewed up in some of the applications where I'm jacking things up. And the handle has a pretty stiff spring to keep it upright. So if you're underneath the vehicle and you're jacking and you need to let go of it, it can crush the plastics or fairing or something like that. It really does have quite a bit of force lifting it back up against the bottom of the body, which in my case it's not a big problem with the big trucks and the Jeeps and stuff, but I can see that being a little bit of a pain. It would be nice if it had some kind of a feature where you could lock it in the down position. But again, this is not one of the high-end jacks. This is not one of the really expensive ones. This one was priced in line with the Harbor Freight and the Lowe's special. So it wasn't the bottom of the barrel, but it definitely is not one of the top of the line ones. So I can only imagine that that's a feature or something that maybe those really expensive jacks have thought about. But as for now, I'm pretty happy with it, and we'll put it to good use. We'll make it work. Thanks for stopping out.